In the unforgiving skies of the Vietnam War, a new kind of warrior emerged, one who fought from the open door of a helicopter, braving enemy fire with nothing but a machine gun, grit, and a desperate will to protect his crew. These were the door gunners, guardians of the skies and unsung heroes of one of the most brutal conflicts in modern history. Today, we take a deep dive into the role, reality, and legacy of Vietnam's helicopter door gunners. The Vietnam War revolutionized modern combat with one critical asset: the helicopter. Unlike previous wars where ground mobility was king, Vietnam's dense jungles demanded new strategies. The US adopted the concept of air mobility, utilizing helicopters like the Huey to insert troops directly into combat zones. This gave rise to the concept of air cavalry. No longer bound by roads or terrain, helicopters became the chariots of modern warfare. But this innovation also introduced new threats. As choppers swooped low for landings, they were met with intense enemy fire. To counter this, door gunners were placed to protect the aircraft, the pilots, and the men they carried. The UH-1 Huey was the workhorse of the Vietnam War, with over 7,000 units seeing action. On most of these, 2 door gunners would sit on either side, manning M60 machine guns. They had a wide field of fire and were responsible for sweeping areas below and beside the aircraft. Larger helicopters, like the CH-47 Chinook, could carry multiple gunners, including tail gunners. Marine Corps units often used the UH-34 Choctaw, with similar gunner setups. Though the AH-1 Cobra was heavily armed, it was a dedicated gunship and did not use door gunners, instead relying on nose-mounted weaponry. The M60 machine gun was the door gunner's primary weapon. Nicknamed the Pig due to its heavy weight and powerful recoil, it could fire 500 to 600 rounds per minute of 7.62mm ammunition. It was mounted on a bungee cord or flexible arm to absorb recoil and allow quick targeting. In some heavy-lift aircraft, the .50 caliber M2 Browning was mounted, capable of ripping through jungle foliage and even light armored vehicles. There were also experimental weapons like the XM214 microgun, a miniaturized version of the Vulcan rotary cannon, but these were rare. Each gunner also carried personal firearms like the M16, M1911 pistol, and sometimes fragmentation grenades, just in case the worst happened. Door gunners were typically junior enlisted men, often volunteers, but sometimes assigned due to shortages. Many were barely out of high school. Training focused on weapons handling, basic aircraft mechanics, and aerial gunnery. But much of their skill came from hard-won experience. There was no substitute for live combat. Gunners learned to identify enemy muzzle flashes, calculate lead times, and coordinate with pilots, all under extreme stress. A typical mission began before dawn. Gunners cleaned and mounted their weapons, inspected belts of ammunition, and attended mission briefings. Once in the air, they scanned the jungle constantly, fingers always on the trigger. They supported every kind of mission, inserting troops into hot LZs, evacuating the wounded, transporting supplies, and providing close air support. The door gunner had to make split-second decisions. Firing too late meant losing lives. Firing too soon could cost innocent ones. Combat insertions were especially deadly. As helicopters hovered low, gunners laid down suppressive fire, often returning while under fire themselves. Some gunners were credited with saving entire platoons with their relentless defense. Door gunners faced some of the highest casualty rates in the war. With minimal armor, they were frequent targets for small arms and RPG fire. The helicopter's engine and rotor noise made them sitting ducks during approaches and takeoffs. Those who survived carried the scars. Permanent hearing loss was common. Many suffered PTSD, survivors' guilt, and physical injuries. But they also developed deep bonds with their crews, bonds that often lasted a lifetime. Though often overlooked in official narratives, many door gunners received medals for valor. The Air Medal, Distinguished Flying Cross, and Purple Heart were awarded to those who fought with bravery under impossible odds. In one documented case, a door gunner held off an entire company of Viet Cong long enough for a medevac to lift out wounded soldiers. His citation read like a scene from a war film, but it was very real. The image of the door gunner has become iconic in war films and literature. From Apocalypse Now to the haunting memoir Chicken Hawk, their stories have captivated generations. But beyond the Hollywood dramatization lies a story of endurance, sacrifice, and courage. Today, modern gunners in Black Hawks and Chinooks continue the legacy, albeit with more advanced equipment and training. Still, the fundamentals remain: bravery, vigilance, and loyalty to one's crew. The door gunners of Vietnam were more than just soldiers with machine guns. They were lifelines in the sky, defenders of their brothers in arms, and witnesses to the chaos of war from the best and worst seat in the house. Though many of their names may be lost to history, their impact endures in the lives they saved, the battles they fought, and the sky-high bravery they showed in every mission.